Which of Allah's favors can we deny? Above all creatures He chose us to be high. To Him we belong, to Him is our return. Life in this world is only a sojourn. To the angels He commanded that man be respected. Shaitan he did not, and so was he rejected. Compared to the angels, we are but clay. As long as Allah we obey, we'll not go astray.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, welcome to a new live episode of our program, Islamic Law Today. I would like to welcome all of you, and I thank you so much for joining us this evening. And I would also like to welcome our dear scholar, Professor Muhammad Saie. Jazakallah khairan. Professor Muhammad Saie is a professor of Islamic law at various American universities. He's also a permanent member of AMJA, the Assembly of Muslim Jurists of America. I'd like to begin today's episode by reading some of your comments that we received throughout the week. Sister Wafat says, MashaAllah, the program is very comprehensive and tackles new interesting topics. It gives us an informative, deep, new dimension in dealing with such subjects. It really works as an eye-opener. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you, and please keep it up. Brother Yusuf is asking if there's a rerun for the show. Yes, brother, the time for the rerun is at 1 p.m. Mecca time on Sundays. So every Sunday, the day after the program airs live, at 1 p.m. Mecca time, there's a rerun for the program, inshallah. Sister Aya has some questions, but we'll keep them a little bit later in the show. But she also says, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullahu khairan for touching upon this topic. I guess it is getting increasingly interesting to Muslim nowadays. And obviously the topic that we've been talking about for the past couple of episodes is plastic surgery from an Islamic perspective. And we hope to wrap up this topic today, inshallah, in our discussion with Professor Muhammad Saie. So please do call us on our number because it will be the last day that we'll be talking about the subject. You can give us a call live on this program during this hour at 002 02 38 555 248 or 249. You can also send us a comment on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Islamic Law Today, and we'd love to have your input and your questions so that Professor Muhammad Saie answers them throughout the show, inshallah. Professor Muhammad, today we would like to continue our discussion and talk about the issue of masculine features versus feminine features when it comes to plastic surgery. So,
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. اللهم يا ربنا لك الحمد كما ينبغي لجلال وجهك وعظيم سلطانك سبحانك لا نحصي ثناء عليك أنت كما أثنيت على نفسك. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا من لدنك علما. اللهم اجعل أعمالنا وأقوالنا ونياتنا كلها خالصة لوجهك الكريم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. ارفع الهم عنا وعن المهمومين، نفس الكرب عنا وعن المكروبين. اللهم فك أسر المأسورين وأحسن خلاص المسجونين. اللهم إنا نجعلك في نحور الظالمين. اللهم زلزل عروشهم وهز الأرض من تحتهم. أرنا فيهم ساعة يعز به أمر دينك ويعز به أهل طاعتك ويذل به أهل معصيتك. إنك على ما تشاء قدير وبالإجابة الجدير. آمين اللهم آمين. أما بعد. As we did talk about this issue last episode, Muslim scholars, by the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they were so advanced in their thought, in their understanding, in the rules they have put long time ago about the topic of we are talking about today. And always we found that Islamic law is very advanced because the fundamental issues of this Islamic law, the general meanings of Islamic law is coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through His book subhanahu wa ta'ala, through His Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam sayings, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. So no wonder if this deen is able to accommodate all these contemporary issues in our modern time. Very important issue we have to talk about regarding the plastic surgeries. If we did talk about difference between being these surgeries as a cure, as a medical treatment for a defect whether that defect was original defect, someone born with this defect, or something happened during the road of the life. Today we have to talk about a very important issue, which is Allah has created subhanahu wa ta'ala, as we said the other time, naturally, in a specific look, physically. We have nose, we have eyes, we have hand, we have fingers, and each one of us does have a specific number of this part of his body to form him as a human being body. And we said that if someone came to this life born with a defect, missing some of this part, because the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is obviously from Islamic law point of view to fix this problem and fix that defect, or something happened later on. We did not talk maybe the last episode about someone to put, if he lost his leg, lost his maybe hand, lost his maybe nose, to put like a physical part of what he has lost in his life during war, during
an artificial limb.
Yes, artificial limb. That would be obviously lawful from Islamic law point of view, because he is fixing a problem, taking away some of his original part of his body to create him as, or to form him as a human being body. Now the issue of male and female is a very important issue, because sometimes we found in our life that some people they born, they are male or they are maybe female, but something happened to their body biologically. Does affect their maybe phenomenon, maybe look. She is a lady, she is a girl, she is a female, but something happened to her, maybe criteria or some of her maybe feminine characteristic to bring her to the shape of a female condition. Like we know that every sex of this two part Allah has created subhanahu wa ta'ala does have a special and a specific criteria. We know that women in general or female in general does have a smooth voice. We have the opposite condition in the male.
Yes.
So if suppose someone born, he's a male, he has everything to indicate that he's a man, or maybe he's a boy, or he's maybe a young man, but his voice very close to the woman or lady voice, because of some defect in his throat, maybe some other thing, maybe some hormones he is missing, some short of his maybe male hormones. So in that case, he is subject of the medical treatment to fix that problem. The same thing for the lady or for the girl or the young maybe woman. If she has a very rush or harsh maybe voice, very close to the voice of men or maybe boys, because of some defect biologically, we are able to fix that problem by having her to be under medical treatment. But sometimes the issue is more than that, is more complicated than like a voice or maybe a look of this lady. Something does have to do with inside her body, biological part or limb of her body, some of maybe biological origin of her body. Like if that lady, she feels that she is very close inside her to the male section, not the female section. She looks like a woman, and no one can tell from just looking at her that she is not a lady. She is a lady, or she is maybe a young woman, or she is a girl. But inside her, she feels that she is not feeling like male, like female. She feels like male.
Even though she has the physical characteristics
yes.
All over her body of a female,
yes,
she feels is that kind of something psychological, or?
So in that case, we have to put her under medical test and exam and see what did cause to have that feelings. Sometimes, by experience, physicians they found out that they have some shortage of some hormones. They found that she has like double maybe part of her body, to indicate that the phenomenon may be part of the other part, the other section. And they found that they are able to fix this problem by treating her medically and biologically through some surgeries, some medicine, sometimes. So all this we put it under a medical problem. It is lawful Islamic, from Islamic law point of view, to be treated and to be fixed. Now we have a very hard or maybe complicated case where someone born with like female look, but he has some part in his body to indicate that he is not a male, he is a female. So he has a double part. He has a double indication. He is in between female and male, feminine or maybe muscular, the other section of the human being. In that case, is he allowed to choose which part, which section he wants to be? Because he has a double. He is not indicating like clearly that he is to the section maybe closer, or maybe a female, or the other side. Is it up to him to decide he wants to be like male or female through like medical treatment, medical surgery? I did write in this book that sometimes it is up to him how does he feel from inside himself, and sometimes it is regarding the social circumstances for his family, for his need, for other things in the maybe in the environment he lives in. So all these factors have to play a big factor in deciding which section he should be assigning to, or maybe to be fixed to be under that section. But this issue will bring us to the other important issue in our topic tonight, is the issue of homosexuality. Because many people, they have misunderstanding, they have maybe misunderstanding of the issue of homosexuality. And they mix between someone who is medically and physically and biologically is defected, so that's why he is acting, even he looks like a man, he acts like a woman. Or maybe the other side, the other maybe section, she looks like a female, like a lady, but she acts like a female, like a man. And some people, they mix between two cases. The first case, that this lady or that man, he born biologically and physically defected. So we need to fix this problem. And we put that person, male or female, under the section of a medical problem. But many cases we have, which is the issue of homosexuality, does not go under the medical problem, does not go under like physically or biologically defect. It is something psychological defect, some kind of like a behavior defect. Because many of these people, most of them, maybe 99.9% of those who they call themselves, they are homosexual, like gays forbid or lesbian forbid, they are, from medical point of view, from biological point of view, physical point of view, they are healthy. They are normal. They don't have a defect. But because the environment they lived in, because some other maybe factors, they were turning themselves to be feeling this way, that they like the same sex. They like, he is a man, he like man. She is a woman, she likes woman. Not because she has some biological defect, but because she lived in an environment to encourage or to push for that route. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala a long time ago And the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam and all Muslim scholars, they were so advanced in understanding this issue. So they divide the issue of homosexuality into two sections. First section,
the biological.
The
second one is the psychological.
And second, psychological or maybe behavior.
I mean, until, this is such an important topic that we're talking about, because until 50 years ago, homosexuality was known to be a psychological disease, according to, all scientists. But now, I guess because of different lobby groups, we can say human rights groups, the issue is becoming more, and even as Muslims, we're not sure. Is this something that a person is really born with, and it's something that they can't change? Or is this something that they acquired and the problem is within themselves? It's such an important issue, inshallah, and we'll continue it in the second segment. We need to take a short break. So we'll take a short break, inshallah, and we'll be right back with Minda.
Which of Allah's favors can we deny? Above all creatures, He chose us to be high.
As everyone knows, today Arabic is considered as very important, very significant language. How can we produce the sound, the state of voicing, place of articulation, the manner of articulation? So in Arabic, the words which are written are pronounced.
We will learn how to write and pronounce Arabic letters correctly in depth. Explanation via board and presentation with many other important factors.
We have today more than 300 million people speak Arabic language. Not only in the Middle East, but you can find a lot of people speak Arabic language in Asia, Europe, North America, and in South America.
What are you waiting for? Grab your notebook and pencil and stay tuned for Learn Arabic at Huda TV.
The main concepts of Islamic economics, how is it different from the Western theories?
And the beauty about Islam is not that it just came as a religion to perfect the relationship of the servant of Allah with Allah, but also it came to perfect the relationship of the servant of Allah with others. The beauty about Islam comes and brings the interest of the public and the interest of the individual together.
How is Islamic banking different from the traditional banking system?
The concept of riba is that I lend you money, I give you a loan, in return they give me back that loan with an extra at the top.
The idea of the stock market itself is halal or haram.
So these are the main conditions that the scholars put with regards of the share market.
Which of Allah's favors can we deny? Above all creatures, He chose us to be high.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome again to our program, Islamic Law Today. We're live and would like to have you call us in and give us your comments and feedback about today's program. Ask your questions to Professor Muhammad Naim Saie. Our phone number is 002-0238 555 248 or 249. We're continuing to talk about the transition to the issue of homosexuality from an Islamic perspective, and what the Islamic scholars think about this issue. We've divided up in two parts, the biological and the psychological. And I'd like to go back to Professor Saie to continue.
Inshallah ta'ala. So we said that it's been divided into two sections, biological and psychological. Maybe could be like regarding of the behavior, the environment. So the first section, they are sick people, they are defected people. Islam was so merciful with this section. Muslim scholars, they when they write about the rules of this section, they were so nice, so kind, because like any patient, like any ill person or maybe sick person or defective person, we have to be very kind to him and just offer him every kind of service, every kind of treatment is able to fix his problem. So these people, they cannot be put under the section of homosexuality. They are defected people. They should be in the hospital, in the clinic, go to physicians and fix their problem. But the other section, which is the most maybe annoying issue regarding them, when some people they believe that they are born this way, and they cannot resist their maybe inner desire or maybe temptation or request to like the same sex they are in. It is wrong. It's been proven medically and physically and scientifically. They are okay, they are natural people. But they want to encourage and enhance the other side of their biological formula. As we know from scientific point of view, every one of us does have feminine criteria and muscular criteria, even if we are a man. The lady is the same thing, female the same thing. So we have some indication to indicate that we have some little things indicate that we have some part of our body to show that we have both. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted this way, subhanahu wa ta'ala, like the upper of your hand is rush and maybe harsh or maybe hard, and the other side is very smooth and soft. So this is like this is male, this is female, and everything. Even the lady, they have something in their body the same way. They have muscles, but when someone is even inside you, this kind of having these feelings toward the opposite sex, this is natural things to feel. Man, he likes woman, woman likes man. That's why we have the marriage. But because of these hormones inside us, we have a female hormones and male hormones. And some people psychologically and sometimes the physical issue inside your body will be affected by your psychological way, by your environment, by your maybe deep request from inside your desire to enhance your maybe the opposite sex inside you. So they tend to be feeling that they are homosexual, but they are doing this on purpose. They are the factor, they are the main reason of being in that section, not because they have some physical or biological defect. In this section, Islam was so tough with them. They consider Islam, anyone commit a crime or commit an action regarding homosexuality, that he's committing a crime and he has to be punished, male or female. It's forbidden unanimously among Muslim scholars. And someone commit like adultery with the same sex, he's a gay, or a woman commit adultery with the same sex, a lesbian. This is a total crime in Islam. It's forbidden, prohibited, unlawful. It's like a major sin, astaghfirullah al-azim, and they have a punishment from Islamic law point of view in the section of criminal section in Islamic law, because these people, they are not medically defected, they are defecting themselves, and they are harming themselves, and they are harming the whole society. And this is the Islamic base, the Islamic rule. Anyone does harm himself and expose these harmful things to others, to hurt others and harm others, he has to be stopped, he has to be punished. To just keep his harmful things, actions or sayings or anything away from the society. Islam was so tough with these people, and Allah mentioned the punishment. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala punished these people, the people of Lut, because of their homosexuality long time ago, because they were okay, they were not defected, they were naturally and physically they were normal, but they were defecting themselves because of the hidden desire they have inside themselves. They were enhancing the other maybe deep request from inside their body by purpose, intentionally. That's why Allah Ta'ala punished these people. That's why we have in Islamic law rules a very tough treatment to these people. Now, how such a person who feels this way to be treated, he's still in the beginning. He did not commit anything, but he feels this way. We have many way of treating, many methods to treat that person, but the first one was the most important one, to order him, command him to live in a righteous environment, to live with the normal people, and to go to the mosque and read Quran Kareem and put himself and involve himself with the social activities does suit his sex, to try to bring him back to the original sex Allah subhanahu created him subhanahu wa ta'ala. But this is not our maybe major point in our program here tonight, but this is just by the side inshallah ta'ala. But just important issue here that these two sections have to be very clear inshallah ta'ala, the difference between the first section and the second section, and how Islam was so advanced in differentiating between the first one and the second one. That way we don't have this in our Muslim society. We started to have some of this, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive all of us because of this kind of mix or maybe transition between East and West, and all this maybe media was rushing our Muslim youth to maybe import many things from outside additionally to this issue.
Inshallah. We have a question relating to plastic surgery. The sister says, plastic surgery that was mentioned at the end of last show, I understand that a woman with big breasts who has health problems because of breathing, like problems like breathing, backache, etc., that she can do surgery for that. But I do not understand why a woman with very small breasts, almost like a man's, as Professor Saie said last week in the program, is allowed to do such a surgery. How far that can it be lawful if it's done for dunya purposes? For example, looking more feminine.
No, the rule here, if this lady does not have the normal shape and size of female breast, and everyone from her sex, if she looks at her, they cannot notice that she has the same normal breast, very small, and it's like most likely very close to the men chest. In that case, she is allowed, it's lawful to have a surgery to bring her shape to the normal shape. But if someone does have a normal size, but she wants him to be like larger, to be more maybe attractive, even for her husband, it is unlawful. It is forbidden, prohibited. As long as she has a normal size, and who decides this?
That was my question to you. Who decides what's normal?
Expert, specialties, maybe her female members of her family, her mother can tell, her sister can tell, and this issue cannot be like a very complicated issue. They can tell if she has a normal size or does not have a normal size, and she is able at that time to put herself under medical treatment. But if she has a normal size, to say or suggest that she is a normal lady, normal maybe young woman or normal girl, in that case she is not allowed to make any kind of surgery to enlarge her breast for any purpose, even if that purpose was a demand from her husband.
Okay. Barakallahu feek. We have another question from Sister Aya. She says, how far can we talk about someone who was born with an unusual physical trait in terms of defect? How does that particular word, the defect, how can it be used without touching upon our aqidah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's creation is perfect?
Yeah, because the physicians and scientists, they define the normal shape, the normal physical condition and shape. And Muslim scholars, they were so advanced before the physicians, they talk about this, they were defining what is the definition of a normal physical condition of a man or normal physical condition of a woman. Like an example, when they say that normally a lady or maybe a female, a girl or young woman, they should not have a beard. They should have her skin to be smooth and soft. If a lady, and this is happening, and it did happen, a lady, she has a problem that she has a lot of hair in her face. It's like almost like a man. This is like a defect. In that case, it is lawful for her to treat herself to take away this kind of defect, fix that defect by medical treatment. As I said, she has a voice was almost like a man, very rush and very harsh, because some biological defect, she's allowed to fix that defect. So the physical condition, or the normal condition, physical condition of a man or woman is very defined. It is not like something to be mixed, or to be like misunderstood. But who is deciding this? Muslim scholars with the help of physicians and scientists. It's not like up to us, up to someone, ordinary person in the medical field to decide this is normal, this is not normal, this is like a normal condition or not normal condition. It's, as I said, Muslim scholars, they defined this one long time ago, and Muslim scholars and scientists, the physicians, they did define this in the same case.
We talked quite a bit about if there's a medical need for some type of plastic surgery, then there could be a case made for it to be lawful. How about people who have psychological effects? For example, I know a doctor who had a patient who lost his hair, and that made this patient become secluded in society. Or a sister who doesn't want to get married, and is refusing a number of potential husbands simply because she feels that the size of her breasts are too small. When we're talking about the psychological effect on a person, would that be considered a medical need, or will it be considered something else?
No, we have to be very careful. Sometimes difficult or maybe psychological problem is referred to a shortage of faith and belief. It's like an illusion. It is not a real problem. You can fake yourself sometimes and convince yourself that you are a sick person. You can convince someone that he is not a sick. This psychology being proven now. And it did happen. Like someone, he's okay and he's normal and he's a healthy person. A group of people, they decided to convince him that he's a sick person. Psychology being proven that they are able to affect on him and convince him that he's a sick person. What about the person himself? He believes by himself that he's a sick person. He does not need anyone from outside to convince him that he's not a normal person, or he's maybe a person with a problem. He is creating the problem for himself. In that case, the solution for this issue is to go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, believe in Him, believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us in different way, different shape, different criteria, different maybe form of living, for testing, for examining us, because this life is not eternal, this is like a temporary life, and eternal life is not here, is later on. But sometimes the psychological problem is a real one, because of real problem. Like what? As you said before, that someone, he lost his hair because of medical issue, because of medical defect. Suppose someone, God forbid, and may God cure all these patients, because like cancer treatment, he lost his hair. And this is happen, and it's happening. So he lost his hair not because of natural reason, because something happened to him, some medical problem. In that case, if Allah will cure that person from that disease, inshallah ta'ala, he's allowed to bring back his hair by some medical surgery, and we'll talk about the hair transplant.
Yes, I'd like to talk about the hair transplant in the third segment inshallah, of our program. We'll take a short break, inshallah, and when we come back, we'll talk about hair transplants from an Islamic perspective, inshallah.
Which of Allah's favors can we deny? Above all creatures, He chose us to be high.
Ask Hoda.
Dear brothers and sisters, welcome to a new edition of Ask Huda.
I have 2 questions.
Please go ahead. You can read it in Arabic, and you can also understand the meaning in your own language. The different tafsir and interpretation of the meanings of the Quran are available in almost every language that exists on earth by the grace of Allah. The water of Zamzam is for whatever intention you drink it with. Salih from Egypt, his father has the way, and he asked about how can he help him. Very good question.
Can we give a zakat to any of the dawah centers?
The ibadah or the act of worship is a part of the unity of worship. It has to be paid to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and in accordance with the guidance of His Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
Brothers and sisters, in particular brothers, husbands, divorce is the last resort.
Even when I was given the topic, the art of divorce, I was thinking, why are we talking about a divorce?
As they say in management, do you take serious decisions when you are angry? No one is taking a very serious decision in his life, maybe in his business, while you are angry.
A divorce happening every 6 minutes.
We are not talking about enjoying the divorce, but we are talking about certain steps to be followed in order to avoid divorce or minimize the possibility of divorce or minimize the consequences of divorce. Any divorce taking place have many ill effects. So we would like to minimize those ill effects.
Which of Allah's favors can we deny? Above all creatures, He chose us to be high.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome again to our program, Islamic Law Today. In this segment, we are talking about hair transplants from an Islamic perspective. And are all hair transplants created equal, or are there different types, and some of them are halal, some of them are haram? We'll go ahead and ask that to Dr. Muhammad Naim Saie.
Assalamu alaikum. Just before we forgot, inshallah ta'ala, regarding the psychological issue, as we said, sometimes we have a real psychological problem. This issue is not limited to a physical problem or biological problem. Sometimes because of some social problem. A lady lived in a very pressure, maybe she was very pressured, a lot of tension and very hardship, difficulties, a lot of negative input from people around her. So they made her feel that she is not okay, especially for her physical shape. And this lady has to find out about the real problem she is facing and try to change her environment and convince herself that she is okay as long as she has a normal physical condition. In that regard, we have to say at the same time that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tested many people in this issue. They are not beautiful, but they are not ugly. They are okay. And when someone is always looking at someone is better than him in the regard of this life, he will always have a psychological problem. Whether that was regarding his physical shape, his financial shape, his maybe health shape, his social shape, his maybe job position or anything. We've been ordered always to appreciate the bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to look at the people below us. They are lower than us in everything, to appreciate the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if you have that shape, look at someone who's like below your condition or maybe your status from physical point of view, to say Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. But at the same time, we have to say Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. A man, he was injured because of a very big accident. He almost lost everything. everything was broken in his bones. He lost almost his vision and his hearing, everything, but he has a tongue. He is able to talk. And when they visited him, they asked him, how are you doing? He said, I'm doing great. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. How you are doing great? Well, you almost lost everything. And he was replying to these people by saying, yes, as long as I have two things. I have a heart, recognize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I have a tongue, can mention the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm so grateful.
So do you think the issue boils down to the idea of having rida, being content with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us?
Yes, definitely. And as we said before, this life is not eternal life. This life is like a bridge. We are going to leave. Our departure has been set by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
And it's not meant to be perfect.
Yes.
So even when it comes to a shape that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us, we don't need to be looking perfect in this dunya, because nothing in this dunya, as all of us know, is perfect.
And for husband and wife, what does beautify the lady or the wife in the eyes of her husband? Her manners, her deen, her faith, her belief, her good treatment to her husband.
Yes.
That makes her the most beautiful person. That's what the Prophet said, alayhi salam. الدنيا متاع وخير متاع المرأة الصالحة. When you look at your wife, you are so pleased, not because she is the most beautiful lady in this world, because nothing to be called the most beautiful person in this world. It's like relatively being called this title or this name. But because she is so beautiful by her physical look in your eyes, because she is your wife.
Yes.
And you always have to believe in this.
Because she's your halal also.
Yes. Anything belong to you is the best. Right? And then because of her behavior, her manners, her deen, her prayer, her fasting, mashallah ta'ala, her dhikr to Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala, she is the most beautiful person to you. And at the same time, you are the most beautiful, the most handsome maybe person to your wife. Because of this criteria, because of these characteristics, inshallah ta'ala. Not because of your physical shape. Now, going back to the issue of the hair transplant, we have to differentiate between two cases. First one, we call it the bald case. When someone is bald, Salah, he lost some of his hair gradually. He born with hair, mashallah ta'ala. When he is at the age of maybe 21, 23, 25, he starts to lose some of his hair to become bald. Bald, a person who has a hair and he has a very noticeable maybe
hair loss,
room in his head. So you could say that he's a bald man. I have a room in my head, the same thing.
We can't see it from at least on this camera.
But a bald person, he's a normal person. You cannot say that he's a defected person. That person, he cannot be under the decision of like medical problem, like physical problem. He's okay. He's a normal person, inshallah ta'ala. But the other case, when someone is losing his hair totally, completely, because of a disease or defect or any kind of cause, out of natural cause, he lost all his hair, that person is to be put under the medical section, and he could be put under medical treatment to bring back his hair. As we said, the example of the cancer treatment,
patient,
he lost his hair. Now, suppose someone, he's a bald person, but he wants to regain his hair. When we are able to say it's lawful to regain his hair or to bring back his hair, when we can say it's unlawful.
Yes.
Now, if we can, by scientific method or treatment, bring his own hair back to grow up, this is a medical treatment, and this is okay, inshallah ta'ala. It's lawful.
Even if it's transplanted from another part of the head?
They are taking some part of his head, some part of his root of his hair,
yes,
and they are
transplanted
in different, on the area that they want the hair to be grown up again. It's most likely, as I said in this book, it's lawful, inshallah ta'ala.
Yes.
But if they bring his hair or the hair of other person, and just by a glue, they glue it and put it in his head, or maybe they just put it somehow to stay and to last in his hair. It is not growing. It's not like part of his natural hair root. This one is not a lawful procedures. It is unlawful procedures.
MashaAllah. Jazakallah khairan for this very, very interesting topic, the topic of plastic surgery from an Islamic perspective. And I would like to, at the end of today's episode, to point to one of the books of Dr. Muhammad Naim Saie. MashaAllah, Dr. Saie has many books. This book, MashaAllah, is an amazing book that talks about some of the current issues that we have from that we have today, some of the recent issues that we face as Muslims, both living in the West and living in the East. The name of the book in Arabic is called Al-Jami' في القواعد والضوابط والمقاصد الفقهية للنوازل والقضايا المعاصرة. And this book until this point hasn't been translated yet, but inshallah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help all of us and we get it translated soon, inshallah. I was reading parts of this book on the way here, and all I could say to the professor is, mashallah, the book left me speechless. Can you tell us a couple of things about what's in the book?
Well, this book, as a part of my project, inshallah ta'ala, to revive this deen, inshallah azza wa jal. In every book I try to write, I just put it within this project, the big project for the whole ummah, inshallah ta'ala. The revival of this Islam, the renewal of this deen, inshallah ta'ala, because we have to bring back our Islamic law the way it used to be. Used to be a key for success, a key of enhancing our iman, key of enhancing our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, key of reacting to this life and acting this life in a very unique understanding and unique practicing, inshallah azza wa jal. So I tried in this book to manage it somehow to be mixed of Islamic law rules, Islamic law wisdoms, Islamic law issues, and to load it with a very comprehensive message to everyone who reads this book, that is about time, inshallah, for all Muslims to go back to their Islamic law. This is the manual book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Al-Quran Al-Kareem, and the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, to be our source, to be our reference in our life, inshallah azza wa jal. So in this book, it is not just to answer the questions or maybe to study the Islamic law issues, but to try to go beyond this, to talk about the deep meanings of our Islamic law in this regard, inshallah ta'ala, so we are able to make our Muslims, youth and old people, inshallah ta'ala, men and women, inshallah ta'ala, to go back to their Islamic law and to try to reactivate this great treasure Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made for us subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Alhamdulillah. I know that this book is published by Dar es-Salam in Egypt. Is it published in other countries, especially Western countries as well?
No, this is Dar es-Salam is the only publisher who is allowed to publish this book. But inshallah in the future we'll try to translate it, inshallah ta'ala, by a different publisher, inshallah.
This is a great book that will help all of us. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it of benefit, to make you of benefit always, whether it's in written form or whether it's through television programs like this one. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you for always being with us. And I know you come a long way, you know, it takes you about an hour and a half to get here every day and an hour and a half back to be with us on the program, and we're very, very thankful for that. May Allah Barakallahu feek. And I would like to thank all of you, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam, for joining us today, and we hope to see you again next week, inshallah, on Islamic Law Today. Jazakumullahu khairan, wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Which of Allah's favors can we deny? Above all creatures He chose us to be high. To Him we belong, to Him is our return. Life in this world is only a sojourn. To the angels He commanded that man be respected. Shaitan he did not, and so was he rejected. Compared to the angels, we are but clay. As long as Allah we obey, we'll not go